Namaste astu bhagavan Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya Trayambakaya Tripurantakaya Trikalagnikalaya Kalagni Rudraya Neelakanthaya Mrityunjayaya Sarveshwaraya Sada Shivaya Shriman Mahadevaya Namaha. Youth, as we saw, is fraught with a hubris where one feels entitled, empowered, and on top of everything because it is at the height of one's strength, seen from the standpoint of the functioning of the organs of action and the sense organs. There is this feeling that one can conquer everything. There is this feeling that all these desires that are there are justified because I am in charge of fulfilling them. And I can do this. I got this. I have it. And the same samskaras, the impressions from the lives led as animals kick in at this time. Bestial samskaras, in the sense of catch and kill mentality. What you see is desirable, and you go and catch it and kill it and have it. This is what one does, when one is in an animal body, and that's excusable because animals are programmed and it is all a question of survival in the wild. This is called, Adi Shankara calls it prakrita buddhi, as nature made. This is how it is. But then when one is in a human body, there is free will, there is the ability, the buddhi is slightly different. The buddhi is available for taming, the buddhi is available to hone for larger pursuits in life, more esoteric, more subtle, rather than just the gross world of catch, kill, conquer, eat, and move on, regardless of other people in the universe. And this is further built up. This kind of a buddhi, this kind of a orientation in the human being is further built up because of socialization. The child is told at 2 years old, you cannot do everything whatever you want. There are other children. You have to share. And this toy doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the other child. It's told. And this way the child learns to evolve out of this prakrita buddhi. But then in youth, what happens is that there is almost a excuse to go back to that, because one feels that one is the monarch of all that one surveys. Everything I see, the whole world is divided into two. What is that? Mine. One part of it is things that belong to me. And then what is the other part? Don't say not mine. Not yet mine. Soon to be mine. This is how the division is. And whatever is not yet mine, I have to make it mine. And whatever is mine already, I have to keep it from being taken away or threatened, endangered by other people's desires. And other people's view on this, I have to protect that. And so this is how the whole of youth is led. Young age, everything is led in this manner. So much so that, once a mother and son came to see me, and the son was a young man. He had sat for some exam. And so I asked, how did you do? And he said, I killed it. And I got a little worried because I was not used to this expression. I killed it means what? I looked at the mother, little worried. She said, no, 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 he means to say he did really well. You see, the catch and kill mentality has even seeped into our language. Go kill it. What is there to kill? This is how it is. We lead our lives in violent metaphors of grab and go and catch and kill, conquer. This is what it is. The whole, the gamut of the spiritual text talk about inner conquest, inner mastery. And if there is anything to kill, it is this big load of papa, kama, krodha, all these difficult emotions which are hard to manage. That is what has to be attended to. But that is not how life is. That is not how the orientation is. And so this prakrita buddhi of catch, kill, conquer mentality, make it mine mentality comes and plays, is in play during youth. This is what in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is described as demonic, devilish, demonic attitudes. Asuri sampatti. Grab whatever I want, I should grab. Chindhi, bhindhi, tear this up, cut this up. This is how, this is what is called the marker called youth. And then this seems to keep on. How long is youth? It keeps on extending, keeps on extending. And, one is told that, the new 40, the new 30, new 30 is 40. Meaning, when you are 40, ages ago when you were 40, you behaved like you were 40 and you had the same thoughts and ideas appropriate to the age of 40. Your body also behaved like you were 40, but with the advance in medical sciences and everything. The new 30 is, actually 40. So when you're 40 now, you behave like you're 30 and you behave like you are, like that's how it is. And I keep seeing these kinds of things. The new 90s is actually the new 70s. And the new 80s is actually, the new 80s is now 60. Meaning, when you are 80, you're actually your mental age and your behavioral age should be like when you are 60. It keeps extending. And so, how long does this youth last? For a long time, until depression kicks in, called midlife crisis. Why is there midlife crisis? Midlife crisis is, even though it's a medical term, sometimes used in a medical way, midlife crisis is basically the dawning realization. Oh, self-realization, no such thing. The dawning realization that I am not in charge of whatever I want and seek. I'm unable to reproduce desires. And even if I reproduce the object of desires, and even if I'm able to have some of this catch and kill, what is happening? I'm not satisfied. I'm still upset. I'm still seeking. I'm still afraid. I'm still incomplete. Apurna, not purna. I'm still finite. I still suffer from the notion of limitations. Body-wise, mind-wise, possession-wise, accomplishment-wise. This is midlife crisis. This is midlife crisis leading to anxiety, panic, depression, sorrow, apathy, all kinds of, the ills of contemporary society. Because why not ancient society? Ancient society also had this, but there were enough things in the social structure to ward this off. There were age-appropriate activities. One was supposed to withdraw from certain things at certain age. One was, as one grew older, one was supposed to apply oneself more and more to a life of prayer and seva. This is the vision. But now we are away from all these lifestyles. We are away from karma yoga. Karma yoga now has to be taught. We have to teach karma yoga, and it has to be understood. Before, it was just built into the society. One naturally by osmosis learned this. But now, no such privilege. And so one is rootless. One is, lingering somewhere in the stratosphere, waiting to feel integrated, alienated from the source, alienated from Bhagavan, Ishvara, alienated from other jivas, alienated from the Jagat, this whole manifest universe, alienated finally from oneself. This is the culmination of the stage called youth. This is what happens when the youth means this is where it leads to. Inevitably, it leads here, unless it is interrupted by some great grace, which takes one to an ashram, takes one to gurus, takes one to the study of the Shastra, takes one to some kind of self inquiry. What is this I? Am I just a machine to reproduce the objects of my desire? Am I just doomed for disenchantment and disappointment because whatever I seek, I absolutely do not get? These kinds of questions, even to have in the mind, needs some great grace, punya operating. That is why a very celebrated text called the Viveka Chudamani says, there are three things which are due to the Lord's goddess's grace, Bhagavan's grace. What are they? The first one is, they all start with M, the three M's. Manushyatvam, human birth. This itself is a great blessing. Otherwise, one can have an animal life forever and ever and ever. Nothing wrong with animal life. In fact, I think they are better off than us many times. They don't have complexes. They are not worried about how they look. They are not worried about what they have accomplished. And there is no pressure. They are free. That's why when we see them roaming around the ashram campus, there is a smile on the face, seeing them so free. But they also do not have the ability, the privilege to seek this knowledge. It is a purely what is called bhoga sharira, a body which is eking out the past karma, which is exhausting some karma. It doesn't have the ability to gain new karma. That's why if a donkey kicks, it will not have karma. Even if a donkey kicks a sadhu, everybody will look at the sadhu and say, what is wrong with you? Why did you go stand behind the donkey? Nobody tells the donkey, why did you kick the sadhu? This is how it is. This is to be understood. It is a bhoga sharira. It doesn't have the ability, it has some self-consciousness, enough to recognize its species, enough to recognize friends, friendly people, enough to recognize who are predators, enough to live its life. It may have a few desires, it may have a few tendencies, but that is as much as this life is. And during the pandemic, people kept on, when we had so many classes on Zoom all the time, people kept on saying, my cat loves to attend your classes. She does not. He does not. He or she is sitting there because you are sitting there. That is how it is. And so this is the extent of the animal life. They are mukta, they are free, but they don't even know that they have self-ignorance. And we don't see the jiva confined to the animal body. We see the jiva as visiting the animal body in this particular life. That unfree jiva, assailed by self-ignorance, is visiting, as it were, the life of a dog for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, however long the life of a dog is. And then again goes away and then comes back into another life. Sometimes great grace operates And the punya of wanting, the desire to want to study this, the desire to initiate self-enquiry, the desire to be one with Bhagavan, that desire for oneness and union fructifies into a human life with the appropriate buddhi to gain this knowledge. To gain this knowledge, there must be a certain infrastructure which the animals don't have. So to gain this knowledge must be a human body, a human mind, because endowed with which one can, make these kinds of conjectures, come to certain conclusions, hone in on one's discontent and dissatisfaction, which seems to be connected to life itself. And then from there, go on to do something about it. So this is Manushyatvam. The second M, it's not enough to be a human being. There are billions and billions of human beings on the planet. Continue to be disenchanted, continue to be disillusioned, continue to be in a war-like mentality, and continue to be grab, catch, kill, this kind of an orientation. And then what? So as a consequence, the second M is again a grace of the Ishvara. And what is that second M? Mumukshutvam. The understanding that I am not free. I don't feel free. Everywhere there are limitations. The body itself is a huge limitation. It does not do what I want it to do. And everybody who is taking yoga classes knows this very well. It doesn't bend when I tell it to bend. It doesn't bend in the correct ways. It doesn't bend as much. And so this is, I don't have a say over the body. The body seems to be finite. It seems to have a mind of its own. What to talk about the mind? The only thing we can say about the mind is never mind. That's all. That's all you can say. Nothing more to say about the mind. And then the senses drive one senseless. This is the state of the body-mind-sense complex, what we call this. And so therefore this, so the mumukshutvam, means the desire for freedom, that I am missing something, even though everything seems to be all right. Nothing seems to be wrong, but I am missing something in this situation is an understanding that is given because of the grace of the Lord, because of good punya that is kicking in. And then finally, even that's not enough, because out of billions and billions of people, many people are mumukshus. Mumukshu means seeker of freedom. But then something else is needed, because the seeking has to be redirected towards knowledge. Because it is not true that you are unfree. It is not true that you are bound. It's a notion of bondage, which appears as an ocean of samsara. That knowledge by which the ocean is reduced to but a notion is called Vedanta. And Mirabai, one of the very celebrated saint poetess of medieval India, sings about this. She says, I went to the Guru for knowledge. I went to the Guru seeking knowledge. What kind of knowledge were you seeking? I wanted swimming lessons, because the ocean of samsara is so deep, full of the alligators of doubt, despair, seaweeds of that strangulate, seaweeds of desire, alligators of doubt, sharks of despair. This whole ocean of samsara was terrible. And me, what am I? I'm a flotsam and a jetsam, a piece of driftwood being thrown about here and there by every wave that is forming. I'm at the mercy of everything. So then I thought, let me go to the Guru and get some swimming lessons, how to stay afloat in samsara. Otherwise, what am I doing? Glub, 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 coming up for air. Glub, 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 glub. It's a permanently sinking feeling. So then I wondered, what will the Guru say? front stroke, back stroke, butterfly stroke. What should I do to be able to navigate the ocean of samsara? And she says, the Guru did a miracle. And what did the Guru do? Revolutionized my vision, cut out the cataract of my vision. So that what happens? I saw, when I opened my eyes, as a result of being instructed in this knowledge, there was no ocean at all. The whole ocean, along with the whole ocean universe, meaning all the sharks, all the seaweed, everything that depended upon the ocean, was dried up. The ocean of samsara was dried up. There was no need to swim. There was no need for swimming lesson. So total is this knowledge. But one must make this quantum leap from somehow vaguely seeking freedom to specifically understanding that the distance between myself and freedom is not space or time, but self-ignorance. That is the separating factor. And that has to be bridged by taking into account that I need this particular knowledge. I cannot manufacture it. I have to understand it. I have to do this. And that brings us to the third M, Mahapurusha Samshraya. Samshraya, taking refuge. Ashraya. That is how the word ashram is also coming from, same derivation. So, taking refuge. In what? Mahapurusha here is Guru. In somebody who has gone through the same thing and then who is able to guide me. In India, we are not very enamored by people who are, what are they called? Self-styled gurus who say, I just woke up and I had this knowledge. Nobody cares for them. If you go to some kind of a Kumbh Mela, what is Kumbh Mela? Orange festival, where a whole town is completely in orange. Miraculously, it comes up on the banks of the river where two rivers meet. And it is all astrological because when the Jupiter is in Leo or aspected by something, or is aspected by Leo, the constellation Leo, the star, then then we have this Kumbh Mela. For 1 month, all the sadhus gather. And so inside, and then they all have these tents and they stay in tents. And then, other people visit them. The junior sadhus visit the senior sadhus, that is the custom. And then we have, when the junior sadhu visits the senior sadhu, the sadhu will ask. So they're not interested in your name. Everybody has long names. I mean, who can even pronounce those names? And so they're not interested in your name. They're not interested in what is your Twitter following. They're not interested in what, how much of a presence do you have on social media? What is your following in life? They're not interested in any such questions. They have only one question alone. Who is your teacher? That's the only question. Who is your teacher? And that says everything about this lineage. That says everything. This is just so amazing. And that says everything because it is from the teacher alone that knowledge is gained. Who gained it from his teacher? Who gained it from her teacher? Who gained it from his teacher? Who gained it from her teacher? All the way to Bhagavan. This is where the concept of lineage comes from. The teacher has gone through the same difficulties that you went through and has come on the other side thanks to the teaching. That makes the teacher a very solid and a trustworthy teacher, not someone who gets up and says, I already got this knowledge somehow. There is no mystery about this. There is the need to study, there is the need to commit, all this. And all this has not been done in youth. The 3 M's are just not even there. Somehow the first M is there. The human birth is there, all right. But then no, the desire for this knowledge has not been plumbed into. has not been probed into, and what this is all about, what this life is about, how to overcome the catch and kill mentality, how to calm down recalcitrant emotions, how to be more compassionate, more accommodating, more loving in life. All this is not even been explored. And this is how most of the youth is spent. What a waste. So much so that in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in the dialogue between the two sages, Gargi and Yagyavalkya, there is a very interesting question that is asked and answered. Gargi asks Yagyavalkya, who is the stingiest person on the planet? And one would expect that sage Yagyavalkya would answer by saying the one who does not give donations, the one who just takes, the one who is a consumer without being a contributor, that is the one who is the stingiest person. But he surprises the assembly by saying, Yo, bho gargi, yah atmanam aviditva asman lokan praiti saha kripanaha. Kripanaha means the stingy person, stingiest person. The stingiest person, O Gargi, is the one who departs from this universe, means dies away, even after having gained a human body, without gaining the knowledge of the I, without understanding who one is, without understanding this ocean of samsara is just a notion of samsara, and all these pains and sorrows are because of my wrong perspective and misapprehension of myself, the mistake centered on the self, equating myself to the body, equating myself to the mind, thinking of myself as much as my possessions and my people. This is the cause of samsara. This is why my perception is all upside down. I don't understand this. And so anybody who dies away without this knowledge is what? Kripanaha. Kripanaha means is the one who is stingy, the stingiest person. So what is the connection between not gaining this knowledge and being stingy? Because the brain cells are there in the human being only for the sake of this knowledge. We are endowed with a vast buddhi to make inferences, conjectures, all for the sake of gaining this freedom. Again, it's as though gain because one is already free. But to recognize this takes time, takes an initiative. And so if one does not use the brain cells, the buddhi, for what it is meant to be, one is stingy because one has died away hoarding the brain cells and using them for other nefarious purposes, like to rob a bank or defraud somebody, or to just, even if one is dharmic, still one is just interested in oneself and one's own possessions, one's own belongings, and that's all it is. There is what a big vista is available, but one is cheating oneself and one is not doing what one needs to do in order to overcome this. This is what Shankaracharya in the verse that we studied yesterday is the hallmark, discusses as the hallmark of youth. That's why there is garva, mana, pride, arrogance, a sense of meanness, a sense of mine, a sense of hubris. There's nothing and no one better than I. I can reproduce anything that I want. I can do this. And east or west, I am the best. This kind of a mentality, it's, any kind of a hubris, makes you come crashing down. This too, the hubris of youth is also not an exception. What does it give way to? It naturally gives way to the misery of old age. And no matter how much you say to the 80-year-old, the 80 is the new 60. Well, the body begs to differ. The mind, which doesn't remember anything, begs to differ. The senses which cannot see, which where the hearing is getting lost, beg to differ. And so this kind of a youth, an irresponsibly lived youth, not from the standpoint of social norms, but from the standpoint of this spiritual expectation for which this human body and this human mind was given. A very irresponsibly and recklessly spent youth, where one did not even think that there might be another vista open for me, that I am missing something, where that doubt did not even cross the mind. That kind of a youth fruitions, fructifies into the miseries of old age. And that old age, of course, very, very universally painful, fraught with all kinds of worries, fraught with all kinds of fears. Let us see what they are. वार्धक्ये चेन्द्रियाणां विगतगतिमतिः चाधिदैवादितापैः पापैरोगवियोगैस्त्वनवसितवपुः प्रौढहीनं च दीनम् मिथ्यामोहाभिलाषैर्भ्रमति मम मनः धूर्जटेर्ध्यानशून्यम् क्षन्तव्यो मे पराधः शिव 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 भो श्रीमहादेव शम्भो. Vardhakye. Vardhakya means old age. So, Vardhakye, in old age. What happens? Indriyanam, for the sense organs, the sense organs take a hit. This is what happens. Can't see, can't hear without aids. We need an aid for everything. So we need another pair of eyes to see, called glasses, another pair of ears to hear, called hearing aid, and another pair of legs in the form of cane, walker, wheelchair, whatever it is, for mobility, to carry one around. So the organs of action and the sense organ start to fail, no matter how many antioxidants you consume. So many, now the berries are very popular, very, very popular. And so there are all kinds of berries, Himalayan berries. What are they called? Starts with a G, goji berries. And then some South American berry, acai berry. This acai berry, everybody. Bags and bags of it, gobs and gobs of it, they keep eating. It's good for memory, it's good for this, it's good for that, and it will stave off old age. Nothing will stave off old age. Maybe, you get a little respite, that's all it is. And poor people in South America, where they were using this to season their sweets or desserts, or they were enjoying it. And now there is no berry there. It's gone all over the world. And goji berry you can't find in India, but you can order it on Amazon.com in America. This is something which is so sad. Strange and strangely sad. And so all these berries, what do? They stave off old age. And the feeling is they also stave off death. And somehow this body, which is subject to mortality, what am I going to do? I'm going to make it immortal. Lord Yama just says, oh, okay, you are consuming berries. Okay, that just means a little coffee break for me. I'll just go sit in the Starbucks. I'll be back for you. That's all. That's all. 2 months life is extended. Okay, let's be generous. 2 years it's extended. 5 years it's extended. What were you doing? I was ordering berries online all this time because I was so worried. That's what you accomplished by the 5 more years you got. This is what it is. And so these antioxidants and these all kinds of aids, whatever they are, they just help to a certain extent. They don't ward off old age. They don't ward off mental decline, cognitive decline. And the recent, there's a great increase in dementia, Alzheimer's, and those kinds of, those kinds of things. And in a way, it's an irony. It's an ironic karma phala, this dementia and the pain that it ensues, for not only for the sufferer but also for the loved ones around the sufferer. This dementia is terrible because it's a very interesting irony. It's almost like collectively Bhagavan is telling us, you did not use the buddhi for what it was meant, so why do you need to remember anything anymore? Very, very interesting. And so these kinds of things are there. And this is what is called the entry into old age, Vardhakya, and what all it entails, and how beautifully Shankaracharya describes this, we will see in the evening satsang. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.
We want to thank very much Swamini Svatmavidyananda. Let's give her a big hand. And we're looking forward for a noon workshop with her, which is a Q&A, so you're welcome to join. And also for the evening satsang, where we'll continue with the program. And the rest of the schedule for today, at 8 o'clock, we'll have the yoga classes. So beginners would be on the Bay West platform and intermediate on the beach platform. 9:45 brunch, at 11 the ashram tour, leaving from reception. At noon, the workshop with Swamini Svatmavidyananda. 4 o'clock, we have the yoga classes, same locations. 5:45 dinner. 7 o'clock, the Gita Parayana. We chant a chapter from the Bhagavad Gita, followed by a short study in the main temple, and you're welcome to join. And 8 o'clock, we will continue with the program with Swamini Svatmavidyananda. Now we will conclude with the final prayers and the arati.
We will conclude with a short version of the final prayers, page 98. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Om, peace, peace, peace. O adorable Lord, mercy and love, let us abide in Thee forever and ever. Om Bolo Sadguru Shivananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Guru Vishnavananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Please stand up for the arati. You can follow along, page 118. Om Jai Jarati Vinna Vinayaka Vinna Vinayaka Shri Ganesha Jai Jarati Subramanya Subramanya Kartikeya Jai Jarati Venugopala Venugopala Venulola Papa Vidura Navanita Chora Jai Jarati Venkataramana Venkataramana Sankataharana Sitarama Radeshyamaha Jai Jarati Gauri Manohara Gauri Manohara Bhavani Shankara Samba Sadashiva Uma Maheshwara Jai Jarati Rajarajeshwari Rajarajeshwari Tripura Sundari Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Mahashakti Jai Jarati Anjaneya Anjaneya Hanumantaha Jai Jarati Datatreya Datatreya Trimurti Avatara Jai Jarati Adityaya Adityaya Bhaskaraya Jai Jarati Shanishwaraya Shanishwaraya Bhaskaraya Jai Jarati Shankaracharya Shankaracharya Advaita Gurave Jai Jarati Sadgurunata Sadgurunata Shivananda Jai Jarati Vishnudevananda 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 Jai Jarati Agastya Munaye Agastya Munaye Shirama Priyaye Jai Jarati Ayapa Swamiye Ayapa Swamiye Dharma Shastave Jai Jarati Jesus Gurave Moses Gurave Buddha Gurave Jai Jarati Muhammad Gurave Guru Nana Gurave Savastarvyo Namaha Jai Jarati Venugopala Om Natatra Suryo Bhati Nachanda Tarakam Nema Vijota Bantikato Yamagnihi Meva Vannamanabhati Sarvam Tasya Bhasa Sarindam Vibhati Om Gange Chayamune Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Namastabhyam Namo Namaha Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Bandhu Sasaka Tvamevam Tvameva Vidya Dravinan Tvameva Sarvam Deva Deva Kayena Vacha Manasendriyarava Buddhyan Manava Prakrite Swabhavan Karomi Adiyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayiti Samar Payami Sarvadharmam Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Amtva Sarva Papibhyo Mokshayishami Ma Sucha. Thank you everybody for joining us for this beautiful morning satsang. Have a beautiful day. Everybody here on the platform, please help us in clearing up the platform for the upcoming yoga class. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day. Om.